Big Pharma's monopolistic price gouging is at record levels and completely out of control. There may be no issue that is more deeply and broadly felt. 4 out of 10 Americans ration the drugs that they need because they cannot afford them. The good news is there may be no price issue that is easier solved than drug pricing. It has nothing to do with labor costs or technology, input costs, geopolitical problems. It is entirely a function of government policy controlled by Big Pharma itself. So the solutions are at hand. I wanted to say something about the problems and then get to the solution part of the equation. The problem is indeed severe. The price of the median drug has risen from just over $2,000 per year in 2008 to more than $200,000 this year. So more than 100 times increase over the last 2 decades. Big Pharma is making out very well. The top 20 companies have made $400 billion in profits over the last 3 years. The CEOs are making out as well. They've taken home more than $300 million in collective pay every year. What makes this all even worse is if we understand how the government contributes and underlies the profitability of the industry. The U.S. government spends about $50 billion a year on pharmaceutical R&D. That's a great thing. Unfortunately, Big Pharma captures the benefits of that and gives us nothing back in return in terms of cost control. Why is Big Pharma able to charge so much? Because we grant them patents and other monopolies that give them the ability to charge whatever they want. We do that as the government, and we don't impose any controls on them. The U.S. government, through Medicare, is the world's single largest buyer of medicines. But until the adoption of the Inflation Reduction Act, because of Big Pharma's influence and probably the most corrupt deal in recent political history, Medicare was forbidden from even negotiating any prices for Medicare. So that's where we are. Out of control pricing because of government inaction and action. We grant them the monopolies that they benefit from. The good news is we've taken the first tiny step that shows us the way forward to deal with this. The Inflation Reduction Act did authorize Medicare to begin negotiating prices, and it's had an important effect. Modest compared to the scale of the problem, but an important effect. And it shows us the way forward, which is to build on that model to deal with the monopoly problem altogether. So 4 components of what we should do. First, Medicare negotiation should apply to all medicines, not just a limited set of them. Second, the Medicare negotiated price should start on day 1 that the product is introduced on the market, not delayed for 7, 9, 11, or 13 years. Third, the price has to be extended to the private market so that those who are not on Medicare get the same low price that Medicare is able to negotiate based on its negotiating power. And last, we should deal with the problem of too large out-of-pocket copays and drive that down below the $2,000 cap, ideally to 0, because there's no reason for anyone to pay for medicines that they need. No one is taking medicines as a luxury item. They're taking them because they need it. No one should have to ration them or be imposed upon. You're already sick. It's bad enough. You shouldn't have to pay more for it. So the solutions are at hand. The only challenge is whether we're going to muster the political will to take action. This is one of those issues, like so much of what the Congressional Progressive Caucus focuses on, that although only part of the Congress is willing to take on corporate power, all Americans want to see action. The polling is 80 to 90%, depending on what question you ask. Americans want aggressive action to bring down drug prices, and the more aggressive, the higher the poll numbers. They want expanded Medicare negotiation. They want it now. It's time to deliver it. Thank you so much.